What's your name and what do you do?
My name is David Woollcott and I'm the Managing Director of Fisher & Paykel UK and Europe.
It's been a challenging year for everyone, but can I ask you, what's been your personal highlights?
Had a couple of personal highlights. The first one has been we found a new home for Fisher & Paykel, so we'll be moving from a couple of really good locations in Milton Keynes and Bedford, and we're moving to a brand new facility in Northamptonshire. Secondly, I'd say it's the approach that our team has taken. So we only had a short furlough period, and working with a team who's been unbelievably resilient and passionate towards the mission has really been extraordinary to see. It's been really difficult, but I think we've shone as a team. And point number 3 would be the setup of Saddle Up, the gathering of friends and colleagues, the meeting of new friends and colleagues, Peter, you being one, and seeing the response that we've had and helping people. It's been something that I haven't done much of in the past, but I just want to put rocket boosters on it now.
What did you learn when you look back during the first lockdown?
Yeah, so much learning. It's really difficult to pin it down to a couple of points, but I think the first one is really around our consumer. So the purchasing online, the speed at which the customer would change, but most importantly, the speed at which businesses can change to adapt was pretty amazing. The second point was how important our homes are and our relationship with our families and loved ones, and how much we depend on them, not only to be companions through life, but to bring us up when we aren't feeling good or when we're dealing with our own changes. The third thing is the use of technology. Again, not only just at work, but Zooming with family members to celebrate, for example, my uncle's 80th birthday was the first time we as an extended family had all got together, and it was stunted, it was difficult, and people spoke over one another, but that learning was fantastic, and we've continued to FaceTime and Zoom with more family members. So despite the tragedy of what COVID has been, I think in so many regards we're further forward than we were. And as any online specialist or digital specialist will tell you, we've accelerated that evolution by 5 years because we've had to. But there's so many lessons that we've learned as a country, as a people, and in business as well.
What are you planning to do to support those around you? Now we're out of the second lockdown, but we're approaching the Christmas period and the end of the year.
So the second lockdown is just finished, but for so many people who are in tier 3, not a lot has changed, and in tier 2 things remain pretty tight. So I think we've still as a country got to be in the mindset that lockdown in some form exists. So I think the basics of reach out to people who are close to you, your neighbours, make sure that you're peppering through as many video calls and phone calls as you can, sometimes without a defined purpose, just to say hello to a colleague or somebody you haven't spoken to in a couple of weeks or months can actually do them and us the world of good, and you never know, you'll probably learn something along the way. And make that a defined period in your day. Just schedule half an hour, maybe after lunch or before lunch or something. Just make it a pleasurable experience so that you can continue to connect. So connection is, for me, absolutely key, and that's what I intend to do, both for my own purposes, but also through Saddle Up. Connecting to people who I've never spoken to before, I think I find that really interesting. Understand what people are going on in their lives, and again understanding what was learned from lockdown 1, and even though lockdown 2 was frustrating because of it's November not May or June, where obviously we could get outside a lot more in the summer months, I think we've really become quite battle hardened, and for most people that I've spoken to, lockdown 2 has been significantly easier mentally, and because we've exercised that muscle a little bit, And that doesn't mean to say we should go full blown into another lockdown, but I think we've become a little bit hardened to it and a little bit better at coping.
What are you doing to keep yourself positive?
What am I doing to keep myself positive? There's a couple of things I do. I find spending time outdoors, whatever the weather, really helpful. So taking the dog out as often as I can, and not just racing around the village, but actually spending time to look or to talk. And instead of buying something online, I tend to go to our village shop to buy it. So that just helps things feel a little bit lighter. Other things I do is to, yes, we all have to admit it, and it's a bit of a joke, but box sets and TV, like find something which you genuinely enjoy doing. Don't worry about those guilty pleasures. If the net result of that is you feel better about yourself, then go for it. I think we should give ourselves a bit of a break, not always try and be so hard on ourselves to drive it. If you're going to enjoy doing something and it's not hurting anyone else, go out and do it. Find the enjoyment. The other thing is, lucky enough to have 2 young kids, so spending time with them and understanding their world and the futures that they've got in front of them, as difficult as it's been, they're ultimately going to have a bright future, in my view. Helps me keep positive. Having a glass of wine with my wife, really enjoy that. I drink a lot more than I did pre-lockdown. That's probably something I've got to address post-lockdown. I don't want to keep going at this rate, but again, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm chalking it up as something that I'm enjoying doing during this particular period of time to keep myself in the mood.
What would you like to say to inspire others?
What would I like to say to inspire others? It's difficult. I think daily becoming inspired in what we do is a challenge. I don't pretend that it's easy to do that, and I might come across overtly positive on LinkedIn or during this, but I have my low moments for sure. What I do to keep inspired is just thinking about the ultimate purpose of what I'm doing and having realistic expectations. And from a purpose perspective, understanding your goals is that you want to make X amount of money, you want to live in this place, or is it a little bit more values driven about being the best friend you can, the best sports captain you can, the best dad you can? And again, just really, it's written about a lot at the moment and spoken about a lot at the moment, but absolutely being kind to yourself is where you've got to start. Because if you're not kind to yourself, you're probably going to be very tough on others. And it's a reflection of the way that you're feeling about yourself. So it's just spend a little bit of time giving yourself a break. And this doesn't mean lower your expectations or lower your ambitions, but don't go at them so hard all of the time, because that's certainly something I did in the past. And I find that going at it at the same pace all of the time can be exhausting, and you'll actually end up bringing down people around you. So spend time, particularly this year, reflecting and being a bit kind on the fact that you've got through the year, you've ultimately succeeded, and it looks like if we can get the vaccine sorted, that 2021 and 22 are going to be really, really solid recovery years for us. Keep your mind on that side rather than what we've just been through.